listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Thursday, August 1st.
Happy August.
Happy August, everyone.
And it's beautiful weather outside.
And
it's not like oppressive. It's lovely.
And I neglected to wish you a happy baptismal birthday yesterday.
It's true. It was.
I should have brought a water gun or something. That would have been a great
That would have been
remembrance.
hilarious.
Although water in the studio is a bad idea.
Also, yes.
So, about a week until my baptismal birthday. Yeah.
It's baptism birthday season.
It is.
And I posted it on Facebook, and at least 3 people were like, hey, it's mine today, too. So I have new baptism birthday buddies. It's pretty cool.
That sounds fun. Like baptism birthday buddies. Sounds like
we should have a party.
Something we should have done in first grade.
Yeah.
2 great topics on deck today. Speaking of seasons, the green season, we've talked about that before. Do we call it Trinity? Do we call it Pentecost, after Trinity? What do we call it? We're going to take a look at some favorite hymns of this season with Cantor Matthew Mockimer from Concordia Theological Seminary in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We're going to do that in the second half. We're going to get conventional as well this morning, a follow-up to the LCMS Convention that took place, the 67th regular convention of the LCMS. Thanks to our friends at Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
Joining us in studio this morning, the Reverend Kevin Robson, Chief Mission Officer of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and officially staying on top of the mission of Synod at the LCMS Convention, the 67th regular convention. So this was regular, not irregular.
Yes, and regular, but I think spectacular, Andy and Sarah. What a wonderful week we had in Tampa. Fantastic gathering, a joyful celebration of a bunch of Lutherans who are all gathered around a common mission and goal. Yeah.
Lots of good things, and this was the first time for a couple of things. We're going to get to talk about this tomorrow. This was, I believe, the first time in LCMS Convention in which we had a servant event take place at the convention. So we get to touch base on that with Redeeming Life Outreach tomorrow and learn more about that. There were a number of key topics addressed at this convention. Let's dig into those. We've got some time here. Let's learn what were some of the key topics.
Well, one of the things that I was particularly glad to see was the church's emphasis on our mission. We were celebrating the 125th anniversary of LCMS Overseas Mission with the sending of Reverend Nather over to India. And it was indeed a chance and an opportunity for us to consider and really reflect on the blessings that God has given us over 125 years and what's happening even now. Spectacular opportunities that our church body is pursuing with our church partners on a global basis today. We had the opportunity to share that with the delegates, the 1,100 delegates that were there, and all the other guests as well, in looking at the various mission fields in which we're serving and the tremendous impact that we are making on people's lives with the proclamation of the gospel and the mercy work that we're doing around the globe.
Yeah, that's a long legacy, and there's so much great work going on. And I'm just from my own perspective as a layperson who didn't used to work in this building, I didn't know about all of that stuff happening. And now that I'm here, it's almost mind blowing the amount of mission work happening.
Yes, and I think one of the things that comes out in a discussion like that, and it's hard to wrap your mind around the entire body of work that our church is involved with in all the regions around the world. But we're really standing on the generations of work, the faithful saints that have gone before us as well. This is not the kind of work where you can walk in, stroll into your neighbor's backyard and say, hey, I'm here, and now we're going to be doing church work. We really are standing on the legacy of so many faithful predecessors who literally sacrificed their lives in order that we might be working in the remotest parts of the globe, in the global south, in Asia, just around the world. Just so many good things going on.
Yeah. Did you get feedback from people after watching these videos and hearing the presentations?
Yeah, that was the one delightful thing for me is that in between sessions, as I was proceeding to meetings in the evening, and convention is a marathon for many of the staff here, sort of a 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. type of proposition. Just so many things going on in the meetings that are going on surrounding the convention with church partners who are visiting with us. But I had so many positive comments from the delegates at the convention. Just in that same vein, Sarah, I didn't know we were doing that, or wow, that was a surprise to me, or this really represents wonderful opportunities, and I'm glad to see our church body doing the very things that reflect the hopes and dreams of our congregation members who make all of this possible.
Well, hopefully you shared with them that they can hear those stories here on KFUO as well. We're kind of in a unique position that, we get to meet the missionaries when they come back home for a reconnect. And so we love sharing those stories.
Yeah.
One, we get to meet them personally, but two, more importantly, we get to share those stories with our listeners. And it's just always a joy and a delight. And I learn something new every time I meet one of our missionaries.
Yeah, one of the things that we've really been doing over the last 3 or 4 years now is thinking about how our missionaries, carrying with them years of accumulated experience and knowledge, can even move around within our efforts. We had Carl Hansen and his wife Shensi and 2 of their daughters in yesterday here in the IC, and talked quite a bit about their impending move to Seoul, South Korea. Now, Carl carries with him 22 years of experience, chiefly and most recently in Hong Kong, but with an opportunity for him to become the pastor, parish pastor of this congregation in the center of Seoul, and use his expertise and theological education, his vast command of Mandarin, and his ability to reach out with the gospel to various people groups. This is going to be, again, just a wonderful step forward for the church. And again, an exemplary as to how we go about looking at new opportunities and using and seeing the people in our organization exercising their gifts to the fullest in the advancement of the gospel.
We had the opportunity to visit with them and just to hear some of the stories from those years of missionaries and how they're looking at this potential opportunity in South Korea as well. It's just outstanding. We've talked about international mission and the missionaries and all the work there. Let's talk about national mission and domestic work.
Yeah, one of the things that really came out at the convention, as it should, because by bylaw, every 3 years at the convention, we're establishing mission emphases and priorities for the Synod for the coming triennium. And at this convention, we had a rather marvelous new emphasis that emerged and was adopted wholeheartedly by the delegates, and that is for the coming triennium, the overarching theme and emphasis of making disciples for life, which is going to be a rather influential cornerstone of our work when in support of our congregations and districts here in the United States, but it will have its application in those overseas settings as well. And making disciples for life is really an effort to gather together the best practices and expertise of our congregations and districts and to make them very easily available to our pastors, our professional church workers, and our congregants in order that they might better serve the needs of the community and see the mission opportunities that are right in front of them, right outside the front door of the congregation and in the communities that they serve.
Yeah. How is that mission emphasis going to hopefully pull together people from across the Synod to have that focus?
Yeah, I think part of this is recognizing that we want to do a better job of retaining our members, and that doesn't sound very outreach focused, does it? But part of this is really taking good care and catechizing and keeping our youngest involved in the life of the congregation day to day, and helping them to see the opportunities to express their desires and their hopes and dreams for the church and the context of the congregation that they're part of. But it is also re-emphasizing the mission that we've all been called to, which is to serve the unchurched in our communities and to reach out to them with the gospel in provocative and lively and energetic ways that will begin to introduce new people to Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior.
The just that emphasis on making disciples for life. I caught up on yesterday's student union and great story there from LCMSU and the way that this college student, Pastor Zill, had a chance to sit down with one of the college students he met at the National Youth Gathering, and sharing those very things that you were just sharing, the importance of discipleship for life, making disciples for life, and it's lifelong. And this college student really grasped that. Koenig was his last name. I forgot his first name already. But just, hearing this from a student in college, recognizing the importance of that.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to be for all of our students, is helping them see the value of word and sacrament ministry throughout their lives, not just while they're in K through 8 or high school.
I think one of the things that emphasis provides is a bit of a delicious wordplay, too, because we can think of making disciples for life in terms of time span, the lifespan of it, the earthly lifespan of a disciple who is going to spend an eternity with Christ in paradise. But the other aspect of this, too, is making disciples for a purpose, which is to provide eternal life, that they are receiving this gift through the means of word and sacrament, the very things, the means of grace that Christ has established to bring people into a saving relationship with Him. So there's going to be a bunch of delicious wordplay and opportunities to communicate this very effectively in a way that I hope and pray will be helpful to all of us in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod.
We've just about a minute left, and I know there are a million other topics, but addressing some contemporary cultural issues, pastoral formation as well, those all came up as well.
Anyone at the convention in Tampa would have seen very quickly that the LCMS is a church body that is utterly and completely engaged with the contemporary issues facing the Christian church today, whether it be from marriage, life issues, the care of the vulnerable among us, reaching out to immigrants, our very hard and firm stance against racism in every form. All of that came out with those beautiful resolutions that were adopted by the delegates. The church speaking very clearly to the contemporary culture around us, not to some bygone era that we're not living in anymore, but the world that we live in today. And I'm very glad to be part of that effort as we move forward in the world.
Outstanding. Our guest today, the Reverend Kevin Robson, Chief Mission Officer of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Thank you so much for being our guest this morning on the Coffee Hour.
My pleasure.
Coming up in just a little bit, we'll take a look at some favorite hymns of the green season. You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.